Hello, I'm Matt Polley, and this is my preview for the second day of the Cheltenham Festival 2021, featuring the Queen Mother Champion Chase. But before we get on to tomorrow's racing, we'll just have a quick recap of what happened on the first day, today, Tuesday. The ground, as we discussed yesterday, I think was definitely on the soft side. It was a dry day all day, and there was, judging from what I could see on ITV Racing, there was quite a brisk wind. So if they don't get any further rain, you can definitely see it drying out. Wind and sun is a very drying combination. So that's something to look out for as we progress through the meeting. And also we mentioned the crowd, didn't we? Really strange, not having people cheering in the winners, and you see the people in the grandstands cheering them down the walkway on the way back in. Arguably beneficial to the horses, but it definitely lacks some atmosphere. So we'll just do a quick recap on our selections from today and see how they got on. We started off with the Supreme Novices. We tipped up Appreciate It. Not an original selection, but the horses still have to go out there and get the job done, and the jockeys have to be in the right places at the right time. And he absolutely bolted up. Got a lovely lead from For Pleasure, who we knew were going to take the field along. Townend, no worries about stamina. Great big horse, massive horse, huge stride. Wouldn't you definitely, as we said yesterday, you wouldn't pin him down as a 2-mile hurdler. I mean, anything he does over hurdles will surely see a better horse over fences, and looks like obviously has speed, but looks like he could gallop all day. So the world's his oyster currently, and fingers crossed he stays sound, and we'll see better of him in the future. So that was a good start. Always nice to see the best horse win these races, and he certainly did that. And speaking of best horses, we moved on to the second race, where there's no way we could oppose Shishkin. As I said, he was nigh on a certainty as far as horses jumping over fences can be a certainty. But All Mankind and Captain McGuinness were arguably guilty of taking each other on and racing far too soon, which obviously played into Shishkin's hands, but Shishkin would have won whichever way that race played out. He was just far superior, and I think the fact that he's 6-4 already for next year's Queen Mother Champion Chase says it all, really. So brilliant performance from him. Then we moved on to the first handicap of the meeting, the Ultima. We had 2 selections in this. We went for the novice Happy Go Lucky, and we tipped up Vintage Clouds each way, and those 2 finished first and second, which was a good result. Unfortunately, I had Happy Go Lucky as my nap in the Racing Post for the Ipswich Star newspaper. He finished second, ran a great race, jumped and travelled well for a novice, and obviously we had the each way option with Vintage Clouds as well, who as we said yesterday, the cheek pieces on, all he needed to do was be able to lay up with them for a circuit, and if he could hold his position, we knew he'd stay all day, and that's exactly what he did. He travelled quite well in the cheek pieces for him, and saw the race out fantastically well up the hill. So we had the first and second there, which was not necessarily in the right order, but profit nonetheless. And then we moved on to the feature of the day, the Champion Hurdle. Well, my selection, Goshen, appears to have ideas of his own. Unfortunately, when he got beaten at Cheltenham previous to this, he looked like he was hanging badly that day, and that was put down to atrial fibrillation, and that was a very valid excuse on that day. But as we saw today, it appears like something mechanical has gone wrong there, and he virtually hung off the track, and poor Jamie Moore literally had no chance once that happened. And you have to feel for them, but I'm afraid Goshen's you're gonna have to give Goshen a wide berth from now on, I think. So it was disappointing for them. Abracadabras fell early on, so we never really got a chance to see what he could do, but there's no getting away from Honeysuckle, who absolutely won with any amount in hand. Fantastic and deserving winner, unbeaten. What more can you say than that? I've seen a few people mention the mare's allowance. Is it in their favour? I suppose arguably it becomes less of an issue when horses get to the age of 7 and older, because they're fully mature by then. I think it's more of an advantage if you get a sex allowance on the flat, obviously, because horses mature, a little bit slower and different rates, particularly to big colts. But anyway, Honeysuckle would have won with another £7 on her back, so fair play to them. The Mares' Hurdle we had down as a match between Concertista and Roxana. That didn't really turn out that way. I went for Roxana because I thought she got the best form, but the drop back in trip certainly didn't play to her hands. Harry Skelton was forced to make his move, I think, earlier than he wanted to, and basically got outpaced by Concertista, who quickened up really well. But I think Darryl Jacobs' hand was forced because he knows that Roxana was probably his main danger, and when she took it up going down the hill before turning in, he obviously knows she stays well, and he couldn't let Roxana get a run on him. So I think he sent Concertista on possibly earlier than he would have wanted to, and she's got touched off by Black Tears, who ran on really well and managed to get up right on the line. So congratulations to them. The Boodles. A handicap juvenile race was Cavalry Charge. Very difficult race to try and analyse that race. Our two selections, Riviere d'Etel, he actually ran quite well. Got a nice position, but couldn't find any extra jump in the last. And On Public, who also travelled quite well on the pace, but faded away sadly, and that was left to an 80-1 shot to win that race. So good luck, well done to anyone who found that one. And then the last race, the Old 4 Miler, which is now the 3 mile 6 National Hunt Chase, was won by Galvin. We put up Next Destination, Touch of Class. Galvin was the obvious danger, been laid out for this race for a long time, and they finished first and second. Galvin just had that touch more speed, didn't he? Next Destination's run a blinder, got a little bit outpaced turning in, stayed on again, but Galvin just had that little acceleration over that extreme trip, and he's won that quite well. And undoubtedly, I think Galvin, could potentially be an Irish national type, or he's not got many miles on the block, but he could win a very big, valuable staying chase, handicap chase, I think, at some point. And probably the same applies to Next Destination. But anyway, that was the first day covered, so we ended up in profit there, obviously, with the 28-1 victory of Vintage Cloud. So not a bad day. Moving on to tomorrow, possibly slightly drier ground. Got some left field predictions for tomorrow's racing, so we'll see how that got on. We'll just talk our way quickly through the races. The Ballymore kicks off on the Wednesday. Another uncharacteristically small field in this. You've got 3 horses at the head of the market, which is literally nothing between them on the ratings. There's only £1 between them on the ratings. Bob Ollinger, Brave Man's Game, and Gaillard de Menil. Where do you start with those? Bob Ollinger, very likeable type, very professional, gritty campaigner, really knuckles down, looks a really likeable, genuine type. Brave Man's Game, massive horse, improving unsurprisingly as he goes along. He's a big frame to fill, and arguably see the best of him in a year or two's time. But he's improving at a rate of knots. And Gaillard de Menil, who has been relatively impressive in his victories so far. But if I had to choose one of those three, it would possibly be Bob Ollinger. Sorry, Brave Man's Game is a very likeable horse, but like I said, I think we'll see the best of him in a year or two's time, and not sure what his form adds up to. Gaillard de Mesnil looks like he might be a little bit of a tricky campaigner to me. He's running cheap piece before, and now he's got a hood on. But like I said, there's not much to choose between those two. So as I mentioned earlier, the left field prediction is I'm going to go for a horse of Joseph O'Brien's called Kescon Risk, who has a bit to find on the ratings, but he looked a really nice horse in his 2 bumper victories last season. Looked a stayer in the making. His first run back this season, he finished 12 lengths behind Appreciate It. So that doesn't look too shabby now, and all he did was stay that day. It's actually quite an eye-catching run, and I think at the prices on offer, I'd be more than happy to take a chance on Kescon Risk. So he'll do for me in the Ballymore. Moving on to the Brown Advisory. Well, I think I can sum this up quite quickly. To be honest, Monkfish is a very short price favourite. He's done nothing but impress since he won the Albert Bartlett last year. He just looks a fantastic horse, and this horse is already being talked about as next year's Gold Cup winner. So you'd like to see him win this Brown Advisory. I think he will. I can't say I know he will because there's no certainties, but I think he will, and I think he'll win it well, and he'll be favourite for next year's Gold Cup afterwards. Fingers crossed there's no accidents. Opposition, Sport and John. We've got the 2 Tizard horses. Sadly, it hasn't been a great season for the Tizards. Obviously, Joe taking over the licence next season, and these were 2 horses that had massive reputations at the start of the season, but quite frankly, they've been super disappointing. And good luck to them tomorrow, but you couldn't really possibly even consider them against Monkfish. Sporting John was super impressive from coming from an uncompromising position at Sandown when he won. Really liked that performance. He'd be the main danger to me, but I think you're looking at forecasts only here, bar an accident. So Monkfish to beat Sporting John. Coral Cup, another impossible handicap. Where do you start here? Another left field selection from myself. Blue Sari, JP McManus, Willie Mullins, shown nothing in his last 2 or 3 starts. Once upon a time finished second to Envoy Allen, only beaten a very short distance in the Champion Bumper 2 years ago. He was pulled up in the Ladbrokes hurdle on his latest start. The one thing I think he's got to his advantage here is the step up in trip. He's won over 2.5 miles before. He has been running over 2 miles, arguably a bit too short for him, but off a mark of 1:38, if he could ever produce the form he showed behind Envoy Allen in that Champion Bumper, then he's absolutely chucked in here. He's had a tongue tie applied for the first time. So, like I said, slightly, you have to take a leap of faith to see this happening, but I'm happy to take that chance. And of the others, we took the novice route, didn't we, for the Ultima yesterday, purely based on handicap marks, and 2 novices running this Coral Cup in Shake 'em Up Harry and Guard Your Dreams. I think they could this race is probably going to pay 7 or 8 places potentially with some firms. So Shake 'em Up Harry and Guard Your Dreams I don't think will be too far away, but let's take a risk with Blue Sari in that. Then the feature of the day, the Queen Mother Champion Chase, where all the talk is about Chacun Pour Soi. Didn't turn up last year. I think he's quite a fragile horse. He's a big horse, big frame. Apple of Willie Mullins' eye. I mean, he could completely destroy these, but for some reason, and a lot of my opinions are based on gut feeling or intuition, I'm not quite sure that Cheltenham is going to suit this horse. He's a very short price, and at the start of the meeting, he's one horse I'd be happy to take on. So bearing that in mind, you've got First Flow, who's improved all season to find himself now in a champion chase, and last year's winner Politolog, who First Flow beat last time. I think they're solid horses, but they're going to have to find a bit to win this. So my selection in this will be Chileos Emery, another Willie Mullins horse. If I stood in front of Willie Mullins now and said I think that Chileos Emery can beat Chacun Pour Soi, he'd probably tell me I'm completely mad. But this horse has actually got a really good record. He's 8 wins from 15 starts, including 3 places. He's a Grade 1 winning hurdler. Chasing didn't work out for him last season, so they reverted back to hurdles, but I think this horse has still got a lot of untapped potential, albeit at the age of 9. I still think this horse has got a big run in him, and last year, about this time last year, we was only 4-1 to beat Chacun Pour Soi in the Ladbrokes Dublin chase, and you know he hasn't got a lot to find. He's rated 165, which puts him right in the mix, and I could see this horse outrunning these odds. I really can. So I'll take a punt on Chileos Emery in the champion chase. We move on to the cross country. Not a massive fan of this race, I have to say. Bit of a novelty race for me, although obviously the interest in this is Tiger Roll versus Easy Land. It's a level weights race, and these two are miles clear. Obviously it's a novelty race, different fences, different test. Tiger Roll's won this, Easy's Land has won this, or he's won round the course before. I'll basically, if it has to be between those two, and I don't think you can really oppose Easy's Land based on Tiger Roll looking slightly lacklustre recently, so we'll skip past that quickly. Grand Annual 2 mile handicap chase, really competitive race. Probably run at helter-skelter pace. There's 3 horses in this race that their form ties in all together. Iblio, Sky Pirate and Amula Gold. And all of those 3 horses' form ties in with First Flow, who runs in the champion chase now. So if anyone fancies Iblio, Sky Pirate or Amula Gold, they'll be looking for a big run from First Flow in the champion. There's not a lot between them. I won't go into the ins and outs of, weight differences and this, that and the other, but I wonder if the John Joe O'Neill team are regretting not putting Sky Pirate away after his victory in January at Cheltenham when he won off 134. I think he went up £11 for that to 145, and I think he probably would win this off of 145, but then he won again. He beat Amula Gold, went up to 152, got beat by All Mankind at Warwick, which is fair enough. But I just wonder whether that increase is probably just counted against Sky Pirate. Iblio and Amula Gold would definitely have chances, obviously, because they all tie in together. But another slightly quirky selection here. There's a horse snuck in at the bottom called Or Jeune de Somoza, trained by Denise Foster, as we were repeatedly told on the television today that she'd taken over from Gordon Elliott. So we definitely know who trains that. That's for Gigginstown. They had a number of entries in this race, and they could have picked any number of those, but they've left this horse in, and like I was talking about earlier, gut feelings and just sort of intuition. I've got a feeling that this horse is going to run a lot better than he has been previously. He's got experience in big field handicaps, and he sneaks in off bottom weight, which is going to be a huge advantage, and I can definitely see him being on the scene at the finish, which leaves us the last race, the Champion Bumper, where two horses are all the rage in this, Kilcruit and Sir Gerhard. Kilcruit, mighty impressive last time, beat the same horse that Sir Gerhard beat last time as well, but beat that horse much more impressively than Sir Gerhard did, but I wouldn't read too much into that, and I don't think it's a betting race, but it'll be a big surprise if one of those two don't win. So I think if I had to choose one, I'd go for Sir Gerhard, but I certainly wouldn't be having a bet in the race. So that sums up Wednesday's action. We had a good day today, the Tuesday, and fingers crossed we can do the same again tomorrow with some slightly, as I said, left field predictions. So good luck everyone, and enjoy day 2.